Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to start talking about rhombi, okay? Or that's plural for just a rhombus. So yesterday we talked about rectangles. And what is the thing we said about rectangles? What makes a rectangle besides the fact that it's a parallelogram? Okay, good. Remember the word rectangle. It's rect and angle. The angles are right. Angles are made right. So on a rectangle, it's a rectangle because it has 4 90-degree angles. Okay? That's what makes a rectangle. Rectangle is all the angles are 90 degrees. Okay, so today we're going to focus on a rhombus. Okay, so the question is, what makes a rhombus a rhombus? What makes a rhombus a rhombus? Like if somebody just asked you, what's a rhombus? How would you describe it? Okay, kind of like two triangles. A lot of people talk about it like a square that's like being squished or something like that. Okay? So, let me tell you what makes a rhombus a rhombus. A rhombus has 4 congruent sides. That is what makes a rhombus a rhombus. Besides the fact that it's a parallelogram, but that's its defining feature, is that it has 4 congruent sides. So what that means is that like this side, this side, this side, and this side are all going to be the same length in a rhombus. So like if this side is 8, this side is 8, this side is 8, this side is 8. Just as an example. That's what makes a rhombus a rhombus. All 4 sides are equal in length. All 4 sides are the same length. Now, there are 2 main properties of rhombuses, rhombi, that we're going to talk about today. Okay, the first one is this, is that the diagonals are perpendicular. Diagonals are perpendicular. Okay, what does the word perpendicular mean? They cross to make what? 90-degree angle, yes. Perpendicular means 90. And so that's what's happening in this little picture right here. You can see that that's what happened right here. Where this diagonal meets up with this diagonal, it makes a 90-degree angle right there. Which, I mean, also obviously that's going to be 90, that's going to be 90, and that angle right there is going to be 90. So where the 2 diagonals meet up in a rhombus, it makes a 90-degree angle. They're perpendicular. Okay, the second property in a rhombus is that the diagonals bisect the angles. Okay, the diagonals bisect the angles. And again, what does bisect mean? Okay, good. Cuts exactly in half. That's what the word bisect means, to cut exactly in half. Okay? So the diagonals bisect the angles. They cut them exactly in half. So what that means is, all right. Well, wow, it's confusing. Okay. So this diagonal right here, this diagonal RP, okay, this diagonal right here, is cutting this angle exactly in half. So angle 3 and angle 4 are going to be equal to each other because it's cut it exactly in half. Now, also since a rhombus is a parallelogram, this whole angle R and this whole angle P are congruent to each other because in a parallelogram, opposite angles are congruent. So what that means actually is that actually all 4 of these angles are always going to be equal. So angle 3, angle 4, angle 1, and 2 would be equal. All right? So like if angle 3 is 30 degrees, angle 4 is 30 degrees, angle 2 is 30 degrees, angle 1 is 30 degrees. And the same thing is going to be true going this other way. 5, 6, 7, and 8 would all be equal to each other. Okay, so let's look at this Venn diagram right here. So if you'll notice in this Venn diagram, the overall largest thing being information that's being displayed here is that parallelograms, okay? So parallelogram is the most generic thing being described here. Now as you get more specific, we have rectangles and we have rhombi or rhombuses. Okay, so what makes a rectangle a rectangle? 4 right angles. So this is a rectangle because it has a right angle here, 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 and here. So this is a rectangle, this is a rectangle. All right, when we look at this one, a rhombus, what makes a rhombus a rhombus? 4 congruent sides. All 4 sides are the same. So you can see that's what they have marked. This side, this side, this side, and this side are the same. Now what happens where a rectangle and a rhombus overlap? What do you get?
Square.
You get a square, okay? So a square actually is a rectangle. Okay, a square is a rectangle because a rectangle just means it's got 4 right angles, and a square definitely has that. So a square is a type of a rectangle. Also, a square is a type of a rhombus because to be a rhombus, it just has to have 4 congruent sides. And in a square, that's always true. The 4 sides are always equal in a square. So a square is a rhombus. So it's not like there are 2 different things. A square is a rhombus. Now, not all rhombuses, not all rhombi are squares, like this is a rhombus, but it's not a square. But every square is always a rhombus. And same thing over here. All squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. Okay, so on number 1 here, which you just had the first 3, I added 3 more here for us to consider some more. Is this a rhombus?
Yeah.
Yes, this is a rhombus. Why do you say that's a rhombus?
Because all 4 sides are congruent.
Yeah, all 4 sides are congruent. Okay, is this one a rhombus?
No.
No, it's not, because this is 16, 16, this is 10 and 10, so that's not a rhombus for sure. Is this one a rhombus?
Yes.
Yes, it is. All those sides are congruent. Now, just look up here. These are not on yours, but number 4, is that one a rhombus?
Yes.
Yeah, all 4 sides are the same. What about number 5?
Yes.
Yep, they're all 19. What about number 6?
No.
Nope. So that's the main defining feature of a rhombus, again, is that all 4 sides are the same. Going back over here to these properties. Yeah, you're right. In a rhombus, that angle in the middle is always going to be 90, okay? Over here, this the second one, that the diagonals bisect the angles. So like the angles are cut exactly. So let's flip it over and we're going to work out some problems based off of the properties we just talked about. So on number 1, it says if dk equals 8. So dk is right here. If that equals 8, it says find KL. How long is KL? It's 8, right? I mean, it's that easy because in a rhombus, all 4 sides are equal. Okay, the next one is talking about angle KAL. So angle KAL is this angle right here. Okay, this angle right here. And in those properties we just talked about, how big is that angle going to be inside of there?
90.
So that angle right there is 90 degrees. And it says it's 2x minus 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set 2x minus 8 equal to 90 to find the value of x. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. 2x equals 98 divided by 2. So x equals 49. Ready? On the next one, it says that dm, that's this, okay, is 5y plus 2, and dk, that is 3y plus 6. So since that's a rhombus, what do I know about those 2 sides right there? Yeah, they're congruent. They're the same. So I'm going to set them equal, solve for y. So I'm going to put 5y plus 2 equal to 3y plus 6. All right, first thing I want to do is get my y's together. So I'm going to subtract 3y from both sides. So this gives me 2y plus 2 equals 6. Minus 2, 2y equals 4 divided by 2. So y equals 2. Now, notice on this one it says to find KL. So KL is this side over here. Now, it doesn't tell me anything about KL over here, but what do I know about KL and this side right here, DK? They're equal. So if I can find the length of KL, if I can find the length of DK, then KL is going to be the same. So I'm just going to find the length of DK. I'm going to take this 2 and plug it in right here. What's 3 times 2? And 6 plus 6 is 12. So DK is 12, so how long is KL? It's 12 also. All right, next one. On number 4, it says DA is 4x and AL is that. Now, this just goes back to properties of a parallelogram. Remember, in a parallelogram, the diagonals bisect each other. So this piece and this piece are just equal to each other. So I'm going to set those equal and solve for x. So we're going to have 4x equals 5x minus 3. So I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides. Get negative 1x equals negative 3 divided by negative 1. So x equals positive 3. So x equals 3. Notice it says find DL. So DL is the length of this whole thing right here. So I'm going to take 3 and plug it in here. What's 4 times 3? It's 12. So this is 12. If I take that 3 and plug it in here, what's 5 times 3? And 15 minus 3 is 12. So this one's 12, which it should be. So how long is that whole thing going to be if it's 12 and 12 there? It's going to be 24. Okay, the next one says DML, angle DML. Okay, measure of angle DML is 82. So DML is this whole angle right here. And that whole thing is 82. And the question is, how big is angle DKM, which is this angle right here? All right. So again, in a parallelogram, if this whole angle is 82, then this whole angle is 82 up here. But I'm not looking for that whole angle. I'm just looking for this one.
41.
Yes, and so this goes back to, so yes, if this whole thing is 82, this is going to be half of that. It's going to be 41. So like this would be 41, and this one would be 41. So the measure of angle DKM is 41 degrees. Okay, on this bottom part here, I'm going to, really all I care about is this one right here. So we're just going to look for angles 8, 9, and 10. Let's start off with angle 9, though. Okay, good. Since this is a rhombus, this angle and this angle are going to be equal to each other. So since this is 36, angle 9 is going to be 36. Okay. What about angle 10? How big is angle 10 going to be?
90.
It's 90. Diagonals are perpendicular. Okay. Now, to find angle 8 up there, there's two different ways we could do this. Let's do it like this. Okay, how big would this angle right here be? Would be 90 also. And now this is going to go back to another fact that we've used a lot in the past, but the three angles inside of a triangle add up to what? 180. So I could do 180 minus 90 minus 36, and that's going to tell me how big angle 8 is. So I'm going to go 180 minus 90 minus 36. And what does that give you? 54. Okay, 54. So angle 8 is 54 degrees.